Hi there, Mystery Baker here. Hope you're all doing well. Well, I've had a little taste of this delicious ginger cake. It's perfect for your favourite aunt or your grandparent as a gift. It's perfect for you. It's pretty grown up. It's sensible, but by goodness, it's tasty. And it's great served hot or cold, even with lashings of custard. Ginger cake and custard. Mwah. If you want to see how I made this, then keep on watching. Hi there, Mystery Baker here. Hope you're all doing well, and I hope you've all had a great Christmas. So I've been thinking of what kind of cake I should do for you today. And with people making the Christmas cake and have maybe a little few ingredients left over, I wanted to incorporate that into a cake that's also easy for my beginners. And I came up with the traditional English ginger cake, because my recipe uses the Black Treacle and the Muscovado sugar or dark brown sugar. So it's kind of a mixture of the two, and it's one of these cakes that doesn't require a lot of elbow grease. Okay, just a little bit of preparation in advance, and if you follow my instructions by weighing everything out, getting everything set up in advance, the cake will be a dream. Simple and easy. So I've got a loaf tin here. And all I've done is, rather than line the whole cake tin, I've just done one piece in the middle, okay? And it's slightly higher because it's easy to pull the cake out. So just line your loaf tin. So that's that. We'll move that out of the way. So we're going to separate them. We're going to have the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients. So for the dry ingredients, you will need 300 grams of self-raising flour. You'll need some ground ginger. It's ginger powder actually, and it's 20 grams of that. You will need some Muscovado or dark brown sugar, and that's 200 grams. And finally, in the dry ingredients, you'll need 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. Not baking powder, no. Bicarbonate of soda. And that soda will react when we add the wet ingredients and fizz away. So the wet ingredients, this is optional, and that's golden syrup. This isn't optional, and this is Black Treacle, okay? Or molasses you can use as a substitute. I've got 300 milliliters of milk, and you'll need 2 eggs, and finally you'll need 125 grams of butter. And the only requirement that I ask is that you do use butter, and not any low-fat spread or margarine. Has to be full-fat butter for this recipe. Okay, so that's the dry and the wet. I'm going to set it up now and show you how we begin. As I say, it doesn't take a lot. It's a very simple and easy cake to make. Back in a bit. Okay, so we're going to start with the dry ingredients. So I'm going to start with my flour, my self-raising flour, and I'm just going to put that in a sieve. All right. And to that, I'm going to add my ground ginger. Okay. And yeah. And I'm going to sieve that through for now. It's just getting a little bit of extra air into it. Okay. Woo! The powdered ginger, yum. Using a spoon just to get all of the spices in there. So that's that. I'm going to give that a mix through just in case. Give that a good stir, and then add your bicarbonate of soda, just a teaspoon, and again stir and fold through. Okay, like that. Smelling good, and this will really smell good. And then I'm going to add my Muscovado sugar or your dark brown sugar. And as I say, if you've been making Christmas cakes, you may have some left over, and it's just using up whatever you've got left. Okay, somebody came to the door. But basically I've just folded all of those things through like that. Okay, so they're all ready. So my dry ingredients is prepared. So I'll move that aside like so. I'm going to bring in my 300 mils of milk, and I'm going to add my 2 eggs to it, okay? There's 1, whoop, 1 and 2, okay? And what I do is I just give this a little bit of a beat, and I beat the wet ingredients here. I'm just going to give that a beat through, and I'll do that off camera, and when I come back we're going to tackle the butter and the treacle, and it's so simple, I promise you. Back in a bit. Okay, so we're going to deal with the treacle now, the black treacle, and what I class as the beginning of the wet ingredients. So to a pan, I'm going to add my butter, okay? That's 125 grams, I believe, of butter, unsalted. And then with your black treacle, I'm going to be quite generous, so it's a nice heaped tablespoon, a nice heaped tablespoon, quite satisfying. Quite satisfying. And oh, come on. And another heaped tablespoon, okay? Can you see? How delicious. How delicious. In fact, I just put the entire spoon, because there's lots of black treacle still left on that spoon. I'm just going to put the black treacle spoon in there as well. And then this is optional, but I do add a little bit of golden syrup, and it's just a tablespoon of the golden syrup, not a heaped one, just a tablespoon, and I just pop that in too, okay? It is optional, you don't have to. And what I'm going to do off camera, on a very, very low heat, I'm going to melt down over the hob my butter and my treacles, okay? So rather than bore you, I'll do that off camera. Back in a bit. Okay, I'm back. So it's really important that you've got your oven already on and it's reached the temperature that it's required to bake, because once all these ingredients are added, the bicarbonate will be activated by them, and you need to move pretty quickly. But as I say, it's pretty straightforward. So what I'm going to do now is I've made a little bit of a well in the centre, and I'm going to add some of that milk, just a little. And with a fork or a mixing spoon, I'm just going to get that started. Okay, just going to get that started like that. Mixing it through like that, just to activate a little bit more. Can you see? Just a little bit more, just activating that bicarb there, like so. And then, without much further ado, I'm going to add my treacle. It's been melted. It's not boiling hot. Don't bubble this and burn it. It just needs to be melted. So I'm going to add my butter and black treacle to that, like so. Shouldn't be too hot. And my milk, all of the rest. It's got egg in there as well, and it will be sloppy, but you know, we like that too. And just start beating it through. And it'll all come together. Start beating that through. You can use a whisk if you want. I tend to not bother, but you can use an electric whisk. I'm just bringing that together. Can you see how that's coming together? It's such a wonderful dark colour. Keep going. I'm just going to get my spoon involved. Just a clean spoon. I'm going to get that beaten up, making sure all of the ingredients in the bottom are working there as well, so there's no flour left. And look how wonderfully rich and dark this is. Like so. Keep going. I'm doing this how I would if I was making it at home. So if it takes a couple of minutes, it takes a minute, you know. I'm just giving that a nice, adding some air as well. And that bicarb will activate because we've added the liquid ingredients like the black treacle and the eggs and the butter and the milk. And there you have it. There you go. There you have it. I'm going to get that now into my bowl, into my loaf tin. Okay, so hope it picks up here. Hope so. I'm just going to pour that in. Keep going. Keep going. Like so. Woohoo! And I just give it a little pack in there like that. And that will go in the oven now for about 50 minutes. Quite a long time, but I'm going to get this in now. Middle of the oven, 50 minutes, give or take. Okay? Give or take. I'll just put my oven on there for the timer to go off. And we will come back when it's come out of the oven. Back in a bit. Okay, let's get this out of the oven. Righty. Oh, come to Papa. Come to Papa. Ooh. Oh, okay, switch that off. Okay, it's been in the oven for about 48 minutes. So I said give or take. Check it at 45 minutes. If it needs another 5 minutes, let it go a little bit longer. Don't keep opening the oven before the 45-minute period. Okay? Check it at 45 minutes. Put a skewer in or a cocktail stick. If it comes out clean, it's ready. If it doesn't and it's with a little bit of residue, just leave it in for 5-minute increments and check as you do. So if you want to stick around, I'm going to decorate this with some white icing and some ginger on the top. But if you want, you can just leave the cake in its beauty as it is. But I'm going to decorate this with a little bit of icing and some ginger pieces on the top. And I'll also show me cutting it once it's cool. So I'm going to let this cool now and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so what I've done is I allowed it to cool in the tin. I just prised it gently away from the sides of the tin and let it cool for about an hour in the tin. And then I removed it and removed the parchment greaseproof paper. And I'm going to now just decorate it. Now you don't have to, you can leave it in all its glory as a fabulous ginger cake. But I'm going to. So what I've done is I've got some icing sugar, about 70 grams, and I've added 1 heaped tablespoon of milk and made it into a glaze. Okay, it's just a glaze and you can leave it at that. But what I tend to do is I tend to do it, you might need a little bit more, but just double it. So I add my glaze like so, and with a knife, or I just gently give it its first coat. Okay, I just gently give it its first coat, and the first coat just allows anything else you add to it. So I'm just going to add my glaze like so. I'm going to add it, as I say, it's my first coat. Doesn't matter if it comes down the edges, it doesn't matter at all. Like so. My first coat of the glaze. So anything that you put on thereafter will stick. Like so. And I'll let that dry just for about a minute or two before I add my second coat. So in all, you'll need about, 120 grams of icing sugar to about 1.5 tablespoons of milk. And I'll let that dry now and I'll come back and add the second topping. Okay, so I'm just adding the second coat. It's been just sat there for a minute. Second coat of the glaze. Just be very gentle. You don't have to add this, as I say. I mean, you can add, what's it called now? You can add cream, or you can leave it. But this is just to add a little bit of VOOM to it. And then what I tend to do, it doesn't matter if it drips down because that's the rustic look, yeah? And then what I tend to do is I use some of this crystallised ginger. This is optional. And I just sprinkle a little bit of it on the top, like so. like so. It's homemade baking at its best. This is not fancy, okay? But this is real tasty, okay? And I don't do fancy. I don't do difficult. Because I can't do difficult. Well, I hope you've liked this tutorial. You don't have to add the crystallized ginger, but I just think it gives it a little bit of va-va-voom to the top. And I'll let that dry. And if you stick around to the end, I'll cut a slice later on. Back in a bit. Okay, I can't wait any longer. The icing's not dry, but I just need to cut this, don't I, for you? So here we go. I'm just going to... It's still very fresh because I've just made it. It's usually better the next day. But there you go, folks. How divine, how delicious. It ain't delicious until I've said so. Hold on. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Okay. Can't talk, eating. It's rich. It's perfect with a nice hot cup of tea. And give it to your favourite aunt. She will love it. She will love it as a gift. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell and you'll be notified of more videos, and hit the like if you've liked it. Any questions, please message them below and I will get back to you, I promise. Thanks for your time, everyone. I must give my children some of this. Bye.